Welcome back, everyone. It's Fight Week, episode 211 here at the FLA Exposure Podcast, sponsored by our good friends here at Maritime Madness. Check them out online, maritimemadness.com. Use the code FIGHT10 and save tons of delicious sauces, spices, and more. John, how you doing?
Doing good, buddy. Good to see you bright and early.
Yeah. Thanks to
Driving
all
up for 3 hours.
John, nice and early to support us.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully people are dialing in. They're out of bed, on the move.
Listening bright and early.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's a
Better to do.
You're all wrapped up in your stuff ready to go, eh?
Getting there, man. A few things left, but geez, if I spun this camera around, you'd see about 80 boxes stacked up here in my office here, ready to load the truck. Yeah, it's getting ridiculous. I don't know how it seems to be. We have more and more stuff to bring up every time. But
It's getting bigger and bigger. It's
bigger and bigger, man. No, we're good to go, man. The crew's set, and yeah, looking forward to it. Getting excited for it, that's for sure.
the Travelers Circus. Comes back to Moncton.
That's right. Yeah, back to where it all began this year.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe, man. We're going into the end of a whole season. You know, the first full year we've ever had since we decided to start a business. The start of COVID, and you know, things are back on track, and we're going into our 6th event for the year plus the Kumite. It's kind of crazy, man. The start of the year, it was like 6 shows. Let's go, and you know,
Well,
so far we pulled it off.
so far, yeah, we're not there yet, but it's, man, like a little bit of hard work and passion and drive goes a long way. Like, and that's one thing that both of us are kind of full of. We're both stubborn to the core, where it's we're gonna kind of beat those,
make it work.
Yeah, we're gonna make it. And it's we've been blessed, man. We got great partners and great staff and sponsors and athletes, and the scene's just bouncing off the walls, and it's just going to keep going.
Yeah.
So
we've seen such a tremendous growth in the scene in Atlantic Canada. I mean, obviously having a place to compete helps a lot with that. So we'll keep doing our part, and I'm sure everyone else will keep showing up and putting on great fights and you know, moving themselves up the ranks. So it's yeah. I mean, this card's, we're seeing a lot of that, man. A lot of these guys started 0-0 with us, and some of them are professionals now, and some of them are advanced amateurs fighting for their titles. And yeah, it's incredible to see. It's incredible to see the growth.
Exactly it, right? Like that's the growth of it all is super cool. Like to see, like you said, like you have 4 pro fights, 2 advanced amateur fights, and 2 novice fights. So like the whole thing, it's working. The feeder system's working. And,
yeah, exactly.
You know,
well, I mean, a year ago we couldn't do almost any advanced amateur fights. It was, you know, a card full of novice amateur, and then you know, these guys have their 3-4 fights now under their belt, and they can do the advanced rules, which is amazing because you know, adding in the ground striking is obviously a key component to MMA, and yeah, I know the guys like to be able to fight at the advanced level, and obviously the fans like it, and everyone else. Like it's a good, you know, logical step towards turning professional. So it's awesome to see these guys put the time in and get to that point.
Well, you know what? It's also great for fan education of the sport too. Like, because like when fans come, they see like through the card, like, oh, if they only came to one fight, like maybe they probably, but as they come to their second event, they're like, oh, okay, so this is novice. There's no striking on the ground, and then the second striking, and then you see the difference once you get into pro. But yeah, it's exactly like you said, man. It's been phenomenal, and shout out to PEI. We're coming, so. We're working hard to get over there. We've been in touch with a couple different people. So a couple different people reached out here in the last week or so, asking about that. So I just wanted to let you know it's obviously nothing, like it's a long way away, but we definitely would be interested in getting over there at some point. So who knows what can happen in the future, but
definitely PEI show would be nuts. So lobby your government.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's it. I always tell people, like, go to your MLA and go to your MP and tell them like you're interested in the economic spin-offs of what we're doing and that kind of thing, and we'll do the same. But yeah, all right, man. Well, if you want to get into it, let's do it.
Absolutely, let's get into it.
All right.
Start at the bottom.
Sure. Yeah.
Let's do it. We got Dylan Benjamin making his MMA debut against Chris Beck, who coming out of GFT in Bunkton. Go for it, man.
Dylan the Candyman.
Yeah,
You know
he's
Dylan.
good.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I do know Dylan. Dylan's trained at the club a couple times when he's from the valley, so when he's visiting, he comes and see us. He's talented, man. And I mean, I've seen him kickbox. Have a kickboxing fight before, which he won. Like Dylan's really good, man. He's a talented, technical fighter. Super nice guy, but he's impressive. He's definitely a fighter that I'm going to be watching, and I think he can go a long ways. But then on the other side of the cage, he's got Chris Beck. We know Chris got caught early in his debut, but he got caught. Everyone can get caught.
Yeah.
And Chris is extremely powerful and athletic, short, stocky guy. But he comes out of a good camp, and we know he didn't get to show what his true ability is.
No.
I would love to see this one get out of the first round, because I think both of these guys are going to put on a hell of a show. And I think they both have some real talent that if they get a chance to, work in there a little bit, we're really going to see a great opening bout. And at 135, man, like, I mean, I'm a small guy. But I like watching the small guys, regardless of my bias.
Well, the thing is, man, like that's they're fast, and especially when you get two guys who are fast and technical, the transitions.
Yeah.
Especially if they get striking's one thing, but that's the beauty of MMA, when you get two people who are super fast and they can switch from striking to grappling and in transition and all of it together, it's a beautiful thing. And like everything you said about these two guys is exactly spot on. One training with Grants, the other one training with Chainsaw Chad Cox, like both legends in the sport here in the East Coast, and both these kids have so it's as the young kids say, it's a firefight to start the card.
It is a firefight. And yeah, you got the coaches, former teammates back in the day. Now they're set up in different provinces, running their own teams and passing on that knowledge and experience, man. It's awesome. It's full circle, right?
100%. Exactly. It is. I love it. And I love seeing these guys around the events and just being part of them. I always had this feeling back when we did jujitsu events too. Like for me, it's like a birthday almost. It's like a Christmas. It's like you work on these things for so long, and then when you actually get there and you see it all come together, and everybody there happy, like everyone's competitive, but for the most part, everyone's really happy to see one another and respectful, and we love that. It's just such a great vibe, and that's what it's about.
It is. Man, that's my favorite part of the shows. You go there's 100 OGs kicking around, everyone's cool. We're all there for the same reason, and we're all building the sport in our own little way, in our own gyms, in our own communities. And we all come together, and guys like TJ and Chad, like we've been seeing these guys at tournaments and events for 10, 15 years. So it's you've known these guys a long time, and it's always awesome, and that goes for everybody that shows up. It's fantastic.
It's like you say, it's a birthday, right? It's like a community thing. Like it's for all of us people who love combat sports. It's like it's incredible. So it's awesome, man. So moving on to the second fight, we got Joey St. John, 0-1, training up at TriStar, and also with Bruno down at Lumberjack Muay Thai and Fitness in Edmonton, and then he's going against Justin Taylor out of Tower One Combat Sports at 155 pounds.
Yeah, I mean Joey's another guy we saw come in. Got caught early, with a submission, but just super talented, man. He's doing all the right things, like the fact that he's traveling and training with high level guys up in Montreal, just putting the work in and taking it seriously. And the fact that he's bouncing back now, I'm sure he's got a statement to make. But so does Justin, man. Like Justin's been looking for another crack at things for a while now. He had his first loss, not with us, but I believe it was against Cam, wasn't it?
And that's exactly it. Both of these guys are 0-1, but both had super tough fights. He lost to Cam at 170, and he lost to Connor Crosby at 155. Both super technical Henzo guys.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Connor Crosby's a big 55 and very good. Joey took that tough fight, and Justin lost to the guy that's in the main event as a professional. So, you know,
at a
no
heart.
shave there, obviously, and yeah, a ton of heart, and the fact that he was willing to fight at 170 for his debut, and now he's down at 55. I'm sure it's going to be a better weight class for him, and both these guys coming in looking to 50-50 their record and move on to the next thing. So yeah, lots to prove in those first two fights, man.
Yeah,
We're
and
gonna
again,
see it, I'm sure.
like they're both these are novice fights, and sometimes the novice fights are the most exciting ones. Like you said, these guys got a lot to prove and coming out here to make a
Hmm.
statement, and even those records. So I'm excited. I've heard
Yeah,
of Justin for quite a while. I've seen Joey, and Joey was a pleasure to deal with. It wasn't easy, so kudos to him. I don't know why I always say kudos on here. I don't.
kudos.
Kudos, Joey. Kudos.
Yeah. No,
Anyway,
he was a tough guy to match up. So
yeah, good
appreciate
for him.
Justin taking that fight, and
Yeah,
getting Joey a scrap.
exactly. Both of them. I'm excited to see both of them in there, and Justin under the FLA banner too. So, yeah, great.
Absolutely.
Love it. Moving into
Yeah, the
man,
advanced amateurs, man.
that's right. We got Gavin Costa making his return from Elite Wrestling up in Cambridge, Ontario. Taking on, he's had no easy fights. He's fought Brady McDonald, Zach Raymond, and now he's taken on the budding superstar Sam Reno. Um, what do you got to think
And
about
he
this?
asked for that fight, if I'm not mistaken, right?
He did, yeah. He asked for Brady too. He's
Yeah.
yeah,
Gavin Costa is tough as hell, and literally takes on the toughest guys he can find,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Travels down here and fights anybody willing
yeah,
to fight him, right?
yeah.
There's not a lot of guys calling out Sam Reno. We've seen him be nothing but flawless in two fights. I mean, two fights, this guy's been approved for advanced amateur. It tells you something.
I think maybe
Sam,
2 minutes of like cage time. I think. But like the thing is,
maybe,
you
yeah,
watch him,
two,
you
three
watch.
minutes.
He's fun to watch already. Like
Fun to watch, incredibly technical,
you
super talented, and we haven't even really seen him on the ground.
no,
He won by calf kicks last game, like just chopped the legs off him. It was a brilliant game plan, right? And that head kick he landed in his first fight, man, was just beautiful.
yeah,
So Gavin's coming in with something to prove. Obviously, he wants to get back on the winning track. But he's taking the hardest road he can, probably in that division right now through Sam, who's coming up to shut him down, man, and go 3-0. Like both these guys, 135s again, man. Starting the card off with these later guys. It's gonna be fast, and it's gonna be technical, and it's gonna be an exciting way to kick things off. There's no question.
yeah. It's well, that's the thing. Like yeah, like you said, I mean, I'm interested to see the game plan on here to kind
So
of
am I.
what happens in this fight because again, Sam being super technical and Gavin's quite good, like technical as well. But obviously, we haven't seen him. I've seen him before compete on the ground, like fight on the ground, and have some beautiful transitions. He had a good finish on the ground, but we haven't seen a lot of that in his last two fights here. So
Mhm.
I'm interested.
And maybe he sees something in Sam that he can exploit.
Yeah,
We don't know,
no, they're
right?
very
He's
confident
come,
coming in. I've seen some posts
yeah,
coming here to spoil the party, no question about it. Like so,
yeah.
and Sam's got an army behind him, no question.
Yes, he does. Yeah,
So it's gonna be loud. I can tell you that. So,
yeah,
but may the best man win for sure.
absolutely, absolutely. Now we're getting into our advanced amateur title fight, 5 rounder. This is I mean, this is a great fight. I love seeing Rory Gillis back. I love seeing him get another crack at the title at now like a higher weight class. Especially, he loses the 170 title to Drake. He's
Was
2-0 at the time, I think he was. Took that L, went back and trained, comes back, wins with one punch. There's no better way to return off a loss,
no,
you know. And that was 3-1. Hayden had another opponent, right? Guy, got injured, I guess it was. Hayden's 3-0. We've never seen him lose. We've seen him be nothing but dominant. And Rory was like, "Yeah, I'll take that fight."
Oh yeah,
No issue. So
yeah. I think he needed a day just to see his schedule. That
yeah, yeah. He checked with work and was like, "I'll do it." Right? You got 3-1 versus 3-0. It's a title fight. There's a potential to go 5 rounds. Unlikely it
well,
will.
if you see the
But
promo video, you see Rory talks about it, like what this means to him. He's planning to go
yeah,
pro, that kind of thing. So it's super important to him for like you said, he had the shot at the title, didn't go his way. I think for between you and I think, or it doesn't, well, not between you and I, we're on a live podcast, I guess, but um, I think like he's better suited for the middleweight division, like at 185 pounds. I think
he's a big guy, man. Yeah,
he is like
very muscular, right?
yeah. So I'm interested. Obviously, like he said in the video, like Rory, he's probably going to want to take this fight to the ground, but who really knows? Like Rory, like has
He's
worked a
got
lot.
power in his hands too.
Yeah, and he's a gamer, man. But we haven't seen Hayden be taken down yet. And he's one of those guys that he's not an easy guy to take down because he's
He's
got
very
that
hard to take down.
small,
Yeah,
very tall and lean, right? Like he's like long legs, long body. Like I've rolled with Hayden. I
yeah,
haven't rolled ever with Rory, I don't think, but like he's very strong, and yeah, it's a beautiful fight for the fans, for
yeah.
the East
Well,
Coast.
we saw Hayden a couple fights ago, man. I'm trying to remember the young feller's name. Came down from Ontario, but he tried to take Hayden down over and over again, and it wasn't working for him, right? And he was relentless on the
Yeah,
takedown. So we know Hayden's got a gas tank, and we know he's got some good defense. And where he is so long, like that sprawl is gonna be really hard to deal
yeah,
with if he can get off quick. Like Rory's gonna have to get deep under his hips if he's ever gonna, get a hold of him. So
yeah.
man, it's
It's interesting.
I can't pick winners in any of these fights,
Wow,
you know?
that's I can pick them, but I'm not saying them. So
Well, you can pick them, but you don't know. Like,
that's the
this
thing.
one could go either way, I think, as well, and that's what makes it interesting, right? Like, it's, yeah, it's a toss-up, man.
It's awesome to see athletes who are coming up through the promotion. Like the thing is, for a lot of these athletes, the melt's great or whatever, but like it's more so the competition and like the winning, and like the belt's just an add-on you get to take home and put it on the shelf somewhere, right? But like
Everyone loves that trophy, man, for
yeah,
sure, and
to
it's a
see,
nice accolade. I mean, if, Rory, gets a belt, anyone gets a belt, they have that. Yeah, it was the amateur champ, and you turn pro. I mean, that makes sense, right?
well,
So,
let's hope. I would think that's what's going to happen for either one of these guys, but
mhm.
I
They
could be
gotta both be close for sure, but
nice to
nothing
see.
wrong with getting that experience in.
Yeah. For anybody who's wondering as well, a couple people have asked about the Maria Clinton fight. The Maria Clinton fight is off the card. Um, Shout out to Willow and Maria both. They're lined up to fight, but Maria is injured, so that fight is no longer happening. So, unfortunately, yeah. But just to put that out there for anybody,
Injuries happen in this sport, unfortunately.
that's it. As always, card subject to change for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, how many fights have we swapped out of this so far? 5, 6, 7?
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of changes. Roll with the punches.
Jericho over in Thailand, improving every day, doing great work, man.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing you back too, man. Big time.
What's this star do?
Apparently nothing.
Nothing.
All right,
Next,
man. We're moving into the pro segment of the card. We got 4 fantastic pro fights lined up for this one. Starting off in the 125 division, Jake Kelly's back. I mean, we saw Jake back at FLA 8, 6, FLA 6. So he's coming back for FLA 12. Um, you know, Jake's just a super technical striker. Obviously, got a very strong ground game as well. His pro debut was fantastic. I mean, he fought first once as an amateur. Was completely dominant. Pro debut, he looked very good. Like his body work on the striking.
lot of
To me,
experience
yeah, ton of experience. Been training forever, and he's up there with Tyler, along with Gavin and the guys, and he's just
forever.
soaking it all up. And yeah, forever. right? And they've got a room full of guys now that are turning pro and have had amateur experience. So no lack of training partners, no lack of great coaching. Um, Jake's one to watch. He can go a long ways in the sport, I think. But he's stepping up to fight Tony Hernandez, who we're bringing up from Mexico, who's had 3 pro fights. So, like a lot of the story on the pro card this time is, the local guys are stepping up and fighting some guys that we're bringing in to have a little more experience. But they're testing themselves. And if you're 1-0 and you fight someone who has 3 fights already and you can get through them, then you're kind of ready to take that next step up, right? Everyone obviously,
Well,
especially with the pro career, wants to be a little careful with the record, but this is
this this fight too. The thing is about it's like it's the old fight MMA math. Like Nigel, who Jake just beat at FLA 6, beat Tony in his last fight. So it's a there's not a lot of 125ers out there like that are always
no,
looking to fight. And Tony's coming up here with bad intentions. He's
of course.
he's like coming off a loss, and he's coming off a loss to a guy who Jake beat. So there's a
So if
lot
he
of
beats Jake, it erases that loss.
exactly. So it's that whole thing. It's a great fight for both of them. Like exactly like you
Hmm.
said, to really catapult Jake, and like especially as a 125er, there's a lot of opportunity in Canada because there's not a lot of them, so that they can be pushed very quickly. And
Yeah, if they can get the record built up, then yeah, absolutely the opportunities are there.
Jake's great too,
Um,
super good, super talented. And I would love to see him on the ground for once, though. I don't think I've ever seen him like ever. Like because he's always fought kickboxing. Like I don't think I've ever seen him on his back ever. Maybe in
I
yeah,
haven't seen him on his back. I mean, when he fought for us amateur at FLA 1, man, he had some nice
location.
takedowns, some nice
Yeah,
throws, but he was dominant from the top the whole time on the ground. So it was never,
yeah.
you know, we haven't seen him in trouble.
No, exactly. So and Tony comes out flying too. Like he definitely comes out
I
flying.
have no doubt. Tony looks scrappy as hell, man.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that fight big time.
Yeah,
Great
yeah,
way
you're
to
gonna know
start.
you're in a fight real quick.
Well, it's a great fight to start after the intermission too.
Hmm.
You know.
No, absolutely. Yeah, coming off that, another Tower One star. Another shout out to our man Abdelaziz. Right, he had his debut in September. Dominant, great game plan. Broke him down basically from the ankles up, and then he's fighting Ruben Aldama, who's had 5 professional fights. So it's another case. Abdel's 1-0. Stellar amateur career, obviously. We know Abdel is a high level professional already. Um, doing very well skills wise and training wise and everything else. He's managed to avoid, serious injury. So him fighting a guy with 5 professional fights again, it's a good opportunity for Abdel. And if he can get through Ruben, who's obviously more experienced, he's another tough as hell guy coming up from Mexico to fight anybody who'll stand in front of him. But Abdel again, if he can beat a guy that has 5 professional fights, well, okay, maybe I'm ready to step up a little bit more and take on some tougher challenges, right, and climb that ladder a little quicker. But we're gonna see how this all plays out, man. I think he's gonna have, you know, his hands full with Ruben, but both these
Yeah.
guys, like Abdel's got the skill set, but can Ruben shut that down? Can he squash or stop the hype train, right?
Who knows? I spoke to him yesterday. He seems confident and eager to get
Of
in there
course.
and test himself. And it's not much more I can say about it. The mummy. I love the guy.
I love watching the Bobby, man. The guy's just a tactician.
I like his attitude a lot. Just a very good martial artist.
Yeah.
He's like I think back. The big thing about Abdel that I think about a lot is like during when we used to do like early day of the Kumites during the pandemic, and he lost like 3, maybe like 4 finals, like 3 finals in a row or whatever, and a couple of them were like hard decisions. Like I wasn't involved. We weren't involved in it, but anyway, he just was so classy. He never said boo. He just walked out and was like, thanks, and just that was it. And he's a great competitor. And it's awesome. So I'm proud of him, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens this weekend. So kudos to
Absolutely. I mean,
kudos.
no secret, man. Abdel's one of our multi-fight guys that we signed first chance, and
Yeah,
we see a lot of potential in him, and he's just a pleasure to work with, like you said.
exactly. Yeah. Moving into
Ooh,
co-main event, our boy Christian Savo. We just dropped a promo here this morning on him, and going against another super talented guy coming out of Mexico. Roberto Pixley took care of Aldrich Keith when he came up here in June. Like, looked very, very good. He's obviously, very comfortable boxing, standing
mhm.
on the center of the cage. So I think that's what's going to happen here, man. They're going to meet in the middle, and we're going to see what happens.
Yeah, we got two powerful hitters, right? Christian Savoy, ton of experience. He's lost once by submission, in CFFC, basically ready to take that. If he
And
got through that, he would have undoubtedly
Basil's
been.
UFC now, like,
Yeah,
so.
he's only lost to the toughest competition in the world. He fought for us in January. It was a killer card. He's fighting a massive Dorian Dokai at 185. It goes to a draw. We all saw that fight, like, very early in the fight. Christian caught him a couple times, and it looked like it was over. Dorian came back and basically out wrestled for the duration of the fight, and unfortunately, that went to a draw. The way everything shook out, but Christian's that guy that he's been knocking on the door for so long,
mm,
right? And Roberto coming up. I mean, Roberto's had, I think, 11 professional fights already. So both of these guys, 10 fights and 11 fights, a ton of experience.
yeah,
Both hit very hard. Both these guys have something to prove. I suspect somebody's going to get put to sleep,
yeah,
right? And Christian, this is his, like, we've talked about this a bunch of times. Like, Christian's goal is to get a win or two and hopefully make that jump up. Like, he's not getting any younger. He
yeah,
fought in January. He had multiple fights fall through this year since then. So fortunately, we're able to get him back in this weekend, and get him another fight and hopefully propel his career forward. But he's got to get through Roberto Pixley,
yeah,
who is absolutely no joke and has basically got the same plans for himself. So
yeah.
it's a tough one, but I'm really glad to see Christian back at 170. He's looking very lean. He's looking very powerful, and I'm sure now he's had the rest of the year. He's been through, I think, 2 or 3 training camps where fights fell through, unfortunately.
Oh,
But
he's for like 6 months.
yeah, but he's going to be in great shape. And that was definitely an issue coming back up. After a couple year layoff in January. So I'm sure he's fixed that. The cardio, he's up to everything, and he's back to his old self at 170. So yeah, we'll see how it all shakes out, man. Looking forward to seeing these guys take the walk and do not blink.
Yeah, that's it. All right, going into our main event. Super excited for this one, man. It's funny. Sometimes I wouldn't say like I manifest things at all. Like, I'm not into that kind of thing, but it's weird like how sometimes like you deal with certain fighters like years in advance, and then if they come full circle and they end up fighting for you. And that's the way it has been with Christian Tremaine. Like, I've been talking to him for like years, and now it's just kind of came full circle that he's here and coming as our main event, taking on that's pretty much the biggest name in FLA for like Cam Nelson. Really excited for this fight. Christian, obviously, with a lot of experience, 4-4. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's a ton of. I think he has very similar to that in amateur fights. Obviously, an experience advantage there, but once you get in the cage, anything can happen. And Cam is talented and well rounded. The thing about Cam is he hasn't got to show a lot of his ground game in there. He's choked. He choked Irving there at FLA 6, but it wasn't like now that he can throw elbows, those kind of things. Like, he could throw them in that fight, but I just didn't find that he got to show his full skill set there. So I'm really interested to see the Cam that shows up here as the main event.
Hmm. Yeah, because Christian, from my understanding, is quite a grappler, right? And he probably leans into that skill set. So I mean, but Cam too, like,
Very
I guess
powerful.
Cam hasn't probably been training that long, but from talking to Matt, his coach, he's very high level too. Like, he's very good on the ground, and obviously he's powerful, and we've seen him submit Irving in a professional contest. So we know he's got a ground game. He does very well on the feet, and he's very explosive, and his fundamentals are quite good. Um,
Remember, he did
but
very well at Kumite events during the pandemic.
yeah, very well in the Kumite, and he was a blue belt, I think, back then when he was doing that. And talking to Matt, he's like, man, he's probably, he said he's probably like a brown belt level. He just can't. I
Well,
probably don't know what you said.
it was a decision between him and Rory in the final.
Yeah, that's right.
I remember that.
Crazy.
So
That was when Cam really first was kind of. I mean, Matt was talking about him, and then I remember Matt after that saying like, "Told you he's good, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no shit, he's good, right?" So the fact that he's 2-0 now, taking on a guy that has more professional fights than he's even had fights,
yeah.
right? And he's looking at this fight, and Matt, his coach Matt McGrath's looking at this fight with him, and they feel like it's a good matchup. Yeah, Christian Tremaine sees a good opportunity to come down, beat this rising superstar, steal a little bit of that shine, get himself, another one in the win column. But if Cam can get through Christian Tremaine, then I think it's another one of these situations where, you got a newer guy fighting a guy with a little more experience. But if he can beat him, he knows, okay, well, maybe I'm at the 5, 6, 7 fight experience level already, and you can kind of gauge your career like that. I think, we're going to see how this shakes out on Saturday, and it's either going to be, okay, Cam slows things a little bit, or things move up a little quicker, and yeah. But I mean, it's been a few months since we've seen him, and he improves so fast that you never know. He could have another
sport, man. If
trick
you're
in his bag.
Athlete, you're a very good athlete. You can really do well in this sport with the right coaching and people.
Absolutely.
And that's what Cam is. He's like a phenomenal athlete who's translating into mixed martial arts. And he's got the right mindset, the right people around him, and so does Christian. It's a hell of a friggin' main event. Couldn't be more excited.
Versus West, BC versus PEI.
And I got a bone to pick. This is a real East versus West. People always claim they say East versus West. Okay, the East Coast goes past certain other provinces. The East Coast is the Maritimes. Okay, the East
not Toronto,
not Quebec or Ontario. Okay?
Yeah,
fuck,
yeah,
drives me nuts. Like you just exclude.
if you can still drive for like 2 days east, you're not east.
Ridiculous. It's like us saying East versus West, and it's something like Nova Scotia versus Manitoba.
Yeah. No, man, you got East versus West, right? BC versus PEI, and then with Savoie and Pixley, you got North versus the South, Mexico and New Brunswick. So, we're bringing them in from all over, man, and this is what the East Coast guys need. They need talent brought in so they can compete and see where they're at. And yeah, that's what it's all about, man. We're growing the scene out here and trying to get as many guys involved and give them the opportunities they need. If you want to be a fighter, you got to have somewhere to fight.
Females, reach out too. Like there's not a lot of females out there that can compete. So if you're looking to fight, if you're looking to compete, by all means, reach out. Obviously, start reaching out to your coaches and have your coaches get in touch with us. Get out there competing in jiu-jitsu tournaments. Be part of the WFDT Women That Fight group with Sarah Wilson. Like, get out there because we'd love to build the female scene more out here, but it's like there's just not a lot of females that want to fight. So
not a lot of options, man. I mean, when Maria got hurt, we scrambled and basically touched base with every female fighter we thought would be available. Unfortunately, that didn't work out, but we just need more bodies to work with, and we have the fighter registry on our website. Like, please, like if you're interested in fighting, go on there, fill out that form. I get all of those and I read them through. You guys that are training yourself in your basement that are filling it out, you're not going to get a call. But if you're training with a legitimate gym and you have a coach we can talk to,
that's the key.
It's important, man. Like, you're not walking off the street and fighting, an amateur Cam Nelson or a Rory Gillis or any of these guys. These guys have been training seriously for a long time and they're talented.
Yeah.
We don't want to see them get hurt, and we don't want to see bad matchups either. Like, we're trying to put together good competitive fights. What's that, buddy?
2 years minimum you should be training. Have a blue belt in jiu-jitsu. Like, have a couple boxing smokers, some judo, jiu-jitsu tournaments. Like,
and be at a gym, like conditioning, all of it. Like, you can't appreciate the conditioning it takes to get through 1 3-minute round. 1 3-minute round, you know, is going to be harder than most people. It's going to be a harder thing to do than most people are going to do their whole life. So, yeah, take it seriously. Get licensed. Get your medicals done. Anybody that's ready to go is going to take priority. Like the struggle we have getting guys licensed is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
And
Especially after like
you
12
know,
weeks now, like it's all on our website, fightleague.com. John did a phenomenal job putting that all up there. Like it's been made so easy. Mr. Legier and Hubert, Mr. Hubert Earl, these guys are great, easy to work with. Like, you know, like
yeah,
it's so easy and now compared to how it used to be licensed. There should be no excuse for anybody to be calling us and say, I want to fight, and you're not licensed, especially if you're a pro. If you're a pro and you message and say, I want to fight, and you're not licensed,
what's
man,
the point?
what's the point? Like, why should we do our work in finding you a fight when you're not doing your work? Like, it's, you know, so
Yeah,
be
you're not
licensed,
ready. Why should? Yeah, exactly.
be licensed for sure. All right.
No, it's a big deal, you know. So, yeah, awesome.
There you go, folks. Pre-show done. Tickets on sale. FightLeagueAtlantic.com. Pay-per-views up there. It's going to be a phenomenal weekend. Tickets are going very, very quick. I think we got 3 tables left online and maybe like 10 cage-side seats. Awesome. Thanks to our sponsors, fans, athletes, teams, coaches, commission, everybody who is involved. You guys are all awesome. Couldn't do it without you. John?
Yeah, weigh-in streaming live 3:00 Friday, live from the Coliseum. Dial in and you know, see everyone make weight, and fingers crossed everyone's good to go. And then Saturday we kick off the year closing show and back at the Coliseum. And yeah, I expect it to be a banger. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely can't wait, man. That's right. All right. Have a good day, everyone. Be kind.
Take care, everybody.
Boom.